Hello everyone. So up to now we have studied about these in this previous videos we have studied enough about these analog inputs. That actually we have done a lot of examples. Even we have looked at this IR sensor module as well. Okay, so let's move to the next scenario, or next thing we are supposed to study is digital input. Okay, so we at the beginning we studied about digital output, so that is this LED business, and switch on the LEDs, the digital write. Okay, digital write. Then we studied about this, if I am correct, analog output. That means giving analog outputs from 0 to we studied about analog input. Okay, so taking analog inputs to an analog pin from 0 to 1023 using the keyword analog read. Okay, so I will write the keywords quickly. Okay, before that, so then we studied about this analog output. Okay, so kind of things. Yes, analog output. So we studied about the 0 to 255 business and the difference between the analog input and analog output, and the keyword or the command you are using for this is analog write. Okay, so these three things we studied, and there is one more to study. So what is that? I'm sorry guys, digital input. Okay, so this is a kind of a big, not actually big, very important, but little bit vast than the previous scenarios, most probably. Okay, little bit vast, not so vast, not so big. So let's get into that. So before that, yes, okay, when it comes to digital output, excuse me guys, when it comes to digital output, what we do, we are giving a high or low output. Yes or no? Yes. So the keyword is digital write. Yes or no? Yes. When it comes to analog input, we are taking values from 0 to 1023 analog input values, or in other words 0 to 5 voltage values, and the keyword here is, before that, okay, and the keyword here is analog read. Yes or no? Using the keyword we take the input. And then when it comes to analog output, we are giving analog output values from 0 to 255, or in other words from 0 to 5 voltages, and the keyword for this is called analog write. Excuse me guys. So from these things, yes, okay, so forget about this intermediate 2 and think about the first one. Digital output means giving high or low output from a particular pin. So digital input means the opposite way, taking a high or low input to a particular analog pin. Yes or no? Yes. So digital output means you are giving an output of a digital signal. That means high or low output, right? 1 or 0 output from a pin to some output, to some system, maybe to an LED. But when it comes to analog digital input, we are doing the opposite direction. We are taking a digital signal input from any digital signal source. That input can be the same, either high or low. Okay, so the keyword for this must be, you might have guessed now, digital what? Read. Sorry guys. So this is fine, right? This is understandable, right? So digital input. So we know we can give digital output, yes, and we can give analog output, and we can take analog input, yes. Likewise, now we know we can take digital input as well. Okay, so we know if we are going to give a digital write or digital output, we are going to use an LED most probably. Okay, we can use other things also. For example, LED is an example for that, right? We can use an LED, and for an analog output, again we can use an LED or something else. And for the analog input, we are using a variable resistor normally, right? You remember this, right? Variable resistor, or excuse me guys, or an IR sensor. Yes or no? Yes. When it comes to analog write, well, we can use an LED again. and there are other ways, other things also. For example, we can think about an LED. So for a digital input, what thing can work as an input source? So if you take the analog input, a variable resistor or an IR sensor pair will work as a analog input source. Okay, that can generate an analog input and give it to the signal Arduino pin. So for digital read, which can create such a digital input? Which source can give you either high or low states, or in other words, which source can give you 0 or 5 voltage? Okay, so normally anything that can give you 0 or 5 voltage, or that can be taken as a digital read, but for our study purpose we will mostly use switches, okay, or push button. Okay, so when a switch is connected to a digital pin, and let's say that particular pin is being used for input purposes, then the switch or push button, okay, we will study what push button is, don't worry. Let's say push button and switch are same for the moment, you can think like that. Or we will, what push button is also a switch, okay guys. So a switch can give a high or low input to that particular pin. Okay, is that clear guys? It's very clear, right? So most probably we can use this most cases, but there are many other sources that can give a digital input, okay, depending on your purpose it will be. So up to now we are good. Excuse me guys. Up to now we are good. So if we have a source, let's say if we have a digital source, input source, how do we connect? Maybe that particular whatever the pin should go to, normally any of the digital pins of the Arduino we can connect. Okay, we should connect normally, right? Wait, there are a lot of things when it comes to digital input and connecting the whatever these sources. Okay, there are a lot of things we have to study on that, but for the moment you can think, to get the digital input we can use any of the digital pins. Okay, so the digital pins that start from 0, so you can give up on 0 and 1, those just don't use 0 and 1. You can start from number 2 and you can go up to number 13, and again you can see 14, 15, likewise up to 53. Okay, if I am correct, 50 to 53, you can use any of the pins to take this digital input. Okay, so the keyword is yes. You can ignore these things, I will delete them. So from the old code, so you can and the keyword is obviously digital read. Okay, so that means the reading word for the syntax for the digital input purposes. So further going, so how we can use this code, how to take the input and analyze, assign it into a variable, and how we can play around, and also how to create the circuits, how to create the connections, okay, digital input connections. There are some things that we are supposed to discuss when it comes to the connections as well, especially when it is switches, when you are using a switch or push button for a digital input source for a particular pin. You may consider about some connections, so we will study about those also in upcoming videos. Okay, so sorry guys, for the moment you can think when it comes to a digital input, a particular input pin, we can be getting an input as high or low, or 1 or 0, or 5 voltage or 0 voltage. Okay, so for that purpose, giving that input, okay, in this direction, we can use any of the source like switch, push button, or anything else that can give you a digital input. Okay, if you understand this much, we will study further in the upcoming videos, and I just want you to remember, we will cover almost most of the things in the digital input. And if you enjoy this video, or if you feel like if you learned something new, do subscribe us and press the bell button as well. And if you have anything to say, please add it in the comments. Okay, I will read every comments. Okay guys, and I will try to answer you as that means to my best possible. Okay, so that's all guys, stay safe, and I will catch you up in the next video.